Good morning, everybody. Welcome into Coffee Break presented by Bath Fitter. We got D-Mac with me here today. We're hanging out with you for the next 45 minutes to an hour. Mike Evans also going to be joining us. Plus, Pat McAfee, Aaron Rodgers. Will we find out where Rodgers is going at 11 a.m.? We'll keep you updated right here on Coffee Break. D-Mac, how are you on this Wednesday?
I'm doing well. I'm trying to get into the spirit of things. I got to root for my Sun Devils today as they have a play-in game, hopefully winning against Nevada to get to Denver on Friday. So my orange, I get to claim a few different schools here, Rachel, because I've always said you get to root for whoever you pay. So if you paid for school one way or the other, you get to cheer for them no matter what. So let's go Devils. They're the only hope. They're the only hope left of all the colleges that I'm associated with.
Are you feeling good about the game tonight?
Yeah, I think they should beat Nevada. They better beat Nevada.
Okay.
I hope so. I don't know. I don't follow it, Rachel. I have no idea what's going on. I know we got Bobby Hurley as the head coach, and I know they beat Arizona at one point. Arizona won the Pac-12 championship, and let's go Devils. Forks up. Listen, when it comes to college basketball, nobody really knows anything about any of these teams. We all just pretend to do so. Nobody really knows what the hell's going on. Not really.
Okay, I'll give you that. You have like an idea, like your broad idea of like certain teams that you know are going to be good, but there's very few people who can actually like name individuals on every single team in March Madness. Otherwise, it's just kind of
Come on, we've got Steve Alford coaching Nevada. We've got Jared Lucas on this team, D-Mac. Come on.
Listen, I can Google search too, Jake. You're not impressing me. I don't care. We got Bobby. All right. So who is a better national champion? Bobby Hurley with Duke or Steve Alford with Indiana? Did he get a national championship? Exactly. Rachel, I may as well be speaking a foreign language right now to you. I
was going to say, what year is this?
It's forever ago. I mean, it's old even for me. It's so ridiculously old.
So was this before I was born?
Yes, of course.
So then I'm
out. Rachel, it was almost before I was born. I mean, it was ridiculously so long ago.
Okay, well, we'll go to the comments because Edward says, what's happening with the Nuggets? And I had asked people last night, I've got like a little private group chat on my Instagram, and I said, what's the panic level when it comes to the Nuggets? And people said, I'm still okay, like a little worried, but I still believe. And then there's other people who are like, no, I'm full on panicking. And then there were a few people too who said, okay, like they're going to be totally fine. You guys are all worrying about nothing. But the overall opinion was mainly, I'm in a panic. What are you in?
Well, if 10 is full on panic, I'm at a firm 6.5.
Yeah.
I mean, you can't ignore what's going on. I understand some of the other dialogue is, well, look at Golden State. They were 10-10 in their last 20 games and won the championship last year. And look at this team. They stunk and won the championship. All right. I mean, I get it, but we're talking about our Nuggets. And it's not just that they lost. Rachel, it's how they lost.
49 points in the first quarter they allowed.
That was
49.
It was pathetic. And they, to their credit, they were down by 19 because they scored 30. They were down 19, then they were down 16, then they were down 6. Yep. And then they got it to as low as 3, and they just couldn't. Fred Van Vliet, one of the greatest names in the NBA, was unconscious. And they you can only go so far, and teams tend to bounce back, and that's what happened. Yep. What the most confounding thing to me is, how does Jamal Murray go from not being able to play in the fourth quarter, not being able to play in the fourth quarter against the Nets, to playing for 40 minutes in Toronto? So either you weren't that hurt against the Nets, or you were way too hurt to be playing 40 minutes. And he was terrible. Terrible. The team was terrible except for Michael Porter Jr., who had 5 3-pointers. The team only had, I think, 6 3-pointers, period. And he had 5 of them. I mean, this was sad, Rachel. And Murray was terrible. And it's the second game in a row where Michael Malone you just can't make sense of what's going on. And Reggie Jackson, who was brought in to be that backup for Jamal Murray, didn't even play, didn't even get off the bench. So I don't know what the hell's going on. I'm in a 6.5. Maybe I just got to a 7 as I talk. And I'll tell you this. They are playing Detroit on Thursday, tomorrow. Detroit, Rachel, literally is the worst team in the NBA.
Yes.
I know road games are difficult to win. But if you lose against Detroit after losing 4 in a row, I'm going to say there's something broken with the team, not just bumped up, broken. You have got to win that game in Detroit tomorrow night. Got to. If you don't, this whole season could be kaput. You could lose the number 1 seed. Jokic in the MVP thing, forget about that. That'll be gone. And then you play the Knicks and the Nets in New York. And, all the eyes of the media will be on you that weekend. So we are in some very tenuous territory.
I see Clint, thank you for tuning in every day. We love having you hang out with us. But he says, hop on board Team James. Did you expect to see any comments like this at this point in the season? Like, we thought we were all just going to coast with the Nuggets to first place in the West and everything was going to be fine until the playoffs. Like, the fact that this is even happening is kind of mind-blowing. But is it actually... I'm trying to put a positive spin on it. Is it a good thing that we didn't see a bunch of load management and this happened in the first round of the playoffs and we're just having this happen in the regular season and there's still time to figure it out?
I hope so, Rachel, because, man, this has been a pretty awesome season top to bottom.
For sure.
And this is so discouraging, what is going on recently. I mean, it's bad.
Yeah.
Really bad. And there's time to get your act together, and there's plenty of talent there. So I'm not giving up on it. But I'll tell you this, man. If Jamal Murray keeps playing like this, they're in big trouble. Michael Porter Jr. is clearly the second best player on the team. And even that's a little bit of a problem. That really needs to be Jamal without thinking about it. I don't know what's going on with Jamal. I don't know if he's really hurt. I don't know if there's something going on mentally with him. I don't know. But boy, oh boy, he has looked just terrible. I don't know how else to put it. He's been just bad. They wouldn't even
get too much in his own head.
Rachel, I don't know. I
don't
know.
There was the whole record when it came to the 3 points, and then, of course, he didn't make it, and it was this big deal after he tweeted about it. Then he ends up making it. Like, was there this big build-up, and then he took his foot off the brake, and he said, well, all right.
Maybe, but how do you explain him not playing in the fourth quarter when they really needed him against the Nets, and then playing 2 days later, 40 minutes? He played the most minutes of anybody.
I would have bet money that if he hadn't been playing in his hometown, he would not have played that many minutes last night.
Why does that matter? Like, I mean, who cares?
I would just bet money, though.
Well, earlier this year, Cale Makar was dealing with an injury, and they went to Calgary, and he didn't play. Should Cale Makar have played even though he was hurt just because they were in his hometown? I mean, what logic does this make? I mean, yeah, okay, you got a bunch of friends and family there. You're a multi-millionaire. Your friends and family can come to any game. Right? Just rent them a plane. I mean, who gives a crap?
Yeah, I agree.
And why was Michael Malone insistent on playing Murray so much? I mean, it's Rachel, he played 40 minutes.
That's a ton.
4-0. Why? Yep. He was obviously struggling. He had another 1 for 8, 1 3-pointer that he made. I mean, he was bad, Rachel. He was terrible. Yep. And they needed him late. He wasn't there for him. I don't understand what Malone's doing right now. And I like Michael Malone. And I don't want to put Michael Malone on the hot seat. And I respectfully disagree with James in terms of firing Michael Malone. But that being said, I got to call it what it is when I see it. And these past couple of games have been really bad. It's not been good.
No, 100%. Okay, well, let's bring in Jake Shapiro because he's always got an opinion on the Nuggets, which we love. Jake, how are you this morning?
Oh, I'm good as the whole world around me comes to an end, it seems. This beautiful world of pure bliss basketball is just ending, Rachel. My beloved Nuggets.
All right, so then how hot is the water for Michael Malone if they just fall out of the playoffs? Like, or James is even saying the next 4 games is when Michael Malone is really going to be tested with his job. But I don't think that. I think it's going to go all the way through the playoffs. But if they do somehow burn out in the first round, how hot's that water, Jake?
Well, it's all playoffs, right? Like the Nuggets could lose every regular season game the rest of the way, still make the playoffs, and Malone would not be fired. Like it does not matter what they do in the regular season. And that's part of the problem here is they worked themselves into a situation where the regular season no longer mattered.
Yeah.
There's an argument to be made that this still doesn't matter. I would argue that there's very scary signs going on with the Nuggets because it appears that they are trying to flip the switch back on and have not been able to do it.
Mm-hmm.
It was okay with 1 or 2 games, but if they lose tomorrow night, they will be on a 5-game losing streak, I think for just the 3rd or 4th time in the entire Malone era, which included some pretty bad seasons there at the start. And in those 5 games, they would have lost to the 2 worst teams in the NBA, and the Spurs and the Pistons. Yeah. So there's some bad things going on. D-Mac, you make the point of Jamal Murray. Yeah, he could have flown his friends. He hasn't played in front of his hometown since 2018. There's travel restrictions. I wrote a story about Jamal struggling to connect with his family through COVID. All the benefits of the doubt there, whatever. The problem is Jamal Murray plays 40 minutes and shoots all these shots on a night where he is playing like crap. How come he does not get pulled from the game vis-a-vis Michael Porter the other night, who obviously has been the Nuggets' second best player, as D-Mac pointed out? I also did some quick research here really quickly. Michael Porter Jr., I would say, has been the Nuggets' second best player, at least just for the last couple weeks. Mm-hmm. Aaron Gordon's probably been the second best player the entirety of the season, but Drew Holiday and James Harden are the second best players to the other MVP candidates. Michael Porter Jr. gets the same amount of rebounds or less than the other 2 guys. He scores less points than the other 2 guys. He also gets about 10 assists a game less than the other 2 guys. It just goes to show you how little depth the Nuggets have comparably to those guys in those teams. So I think the Nuggets are kind of in this weird world right now where this doesn't really matter, but it's starting to matter, and we're going to see how they respond. Thankfully, they play the worst team in the league in their next game, but they've got a tough slate ahead that includes 3 more games on the East Coast after that, followed by, guess what? Games at home against Philadelphia and Milwaukee, where the entire world is going to be watching those games.
No, that's so tough, too. Mark says, great shirt, Jake. Jake, you're just getting, like, all the fashion credit as of recent. The hats, the shirt, look at you.
Yeah, I don't know what I'm doing here. I've got the Portland hat with the Chicago shirt. I think it's like the Eugene Emeralds are the single A affiliate for the Cubs, so I think that's what's going on here.
Oh, Jake.
Anything representing the Cubs sucks.
That's fine.
Anybody purporting to be any form of Cubs fan is garbage.
I'm not. I grew up a Cub fan. I'm out on it.
Throw it in the trash.
It's a good shirt, D-Mac. It's Nike. It's high quality. I like the colors. Chris Bryant, I'll always love, like, even on the Rockies. Like, but I'm not a Cubs fan. I'm just not. Like, that thing's over. But, you know,
Jake's a sports fan. Jake's a sports fan through and through, all the way over. So, Jake, I'll give it to you.
You could be Padres shirts on the show for, Padres. Who's a Padres fan?
Hey, I'd rather be a Padres fan than a Cubs fan. At least I'm not a poser, an annoying jerkwad like all the other Cubs fans out there.
Oh, my goodness, D-Mac. My goodness. Okay, D-Mac, real quick, 30 seconds. How hot is the water for Michael Malone? Go.
It's not hot. He's not getting fired. It doesn't matter. He could lose in the first round of the playoffs and not get fired. The hot water for Michael Malone comes from critics, not from Kroenke. So there you go. That's your headline.
Okay. Interesting.
Yeah. He's completely right. Like, I texted him last night. I'm like, Malone's more likely to get a statue by the end of the season than he is to be fired.
Yeah. But people don't want to hear that, and I don't know what to say. I do like Michael Malone. He's having a little bit of a slump too. So let's hopefully he can get out of it as well. The comments about I'm here and, I'll never coach a team like this or that. I mean, there's an element of that just comes across a little narcissistic. I'll give you that. I mean, you would never hear anything like that from Jared Bednar about how it's his team and my locker room and what I bring to the table. That is the arrogance of Michael Malone that, one, makes him a good coach, and two, ticks people off. I mean, it's kind of both of those things. But, we're in a world where you have to have the ultimate amount of confidence in order to be the leader of men. It has to come from one way or another, and that's just his way of doing it. And frankly, the NBA is kind of just like that. The NBA is the most arrogant, confident, narcissistic league because it takes that much talent to play at that level. It's the hardest league to succeed in, and to succeed at that level amongst those type of guys, which is so rare, you've got to have a rare confidence. And Malone has it, but I understand how that sets people off. But I mean, like, James, what's your other answer? David Adelman, a first-time guy? What player is retiring that you want to coach the team like Jason Kidd or Ty Lue, James? I mean, who is it? You want to hire J.J. Redick? That would be the type of guy. I mean, who do you think you got?
And that's part of the point there, D-Mac, is it's great to say fire Malone, but then what? And I don't know what the answer is. I look around the league at coaches and their schemes and the way their teams respond night in and night out. Ty Lue is purported to be a great coach. Doc Rivers is purported to be a great coach. Both of those guys stink. They stink. There's only a couple coaches in the NBA that I know for a fact are better than Michael Malone. And I'm not that big of a Michael Malone guy. And I think at times his team loses and disconnects with the message of their coach. Like, it's clear right now they've tuned him out. That doesn't mean he's lost the locker room for the whole season. I also think Mike Malone's the perfect guy to lead your team back from a 3-1 deficit because he coaches with this toughness and inspiration and stuff. His in-game adjustments are bad. His after timeout plays are brutal. And some of the changes he's made in the rotation are just nonsensical. But he's also probably one of the better coaches in the NBA. It's a really hard gig, and I don't know what the better option is than him. Is there one out there? Yeah, but guess what? You're not finding it in the next week and a half if the Nuggets lose the next 3 games.
The brutal thing is they should not have lost. It was okay to take a dip on this road trip. It was. I always thought they were, okay? What kills you is losing to the Bulls, Spurs, and the Nets, which were just like, really, seriously, guys, those are like 3 cupcakes they should have had. And then, all right, you go on a little dip. Losing those 3 games, and Michael Malone said it after the game, he's sleepless at night because of the Chicago game. That's the one that's bothering him the most. And there does appear to be something to the fact that they beat the Grizzlies in a highly anticipated, tough-fought game, and they really are acting now like the season's over. And that's a problem, and I wouldn't have been able to predict that. That's what has surprised me. But don't look for some sort of magic remedy now. I mean, you lose to the Pistons? I can't believe this is actually kind of a big game. And it kind of is, because look at the next games after that. Good luck. I mean, they're not going to be easy at all with the Knicks, Nets, and then the Wizards. Not easy. So you better win. You best win on Thursday. Let's check back on Friday if the Nuggets don't win on Thursday, and this might be a different conversation.
And we will see, and of course, keep everybody updated at denversports.com. Jake, as always, appreciate you hanging out with us and keep us updated on.
Rachel, real quick. Hey, D-Mac, name a Piston.
Isaiah Thomas and John Sally.
They haven't played in 25 years.
Chauncey Billups.
You're getting closer, but still not hitting the spot.
Darko.
Still not there. Look for Amakik Diallo.
Prince.
Oh, right. We're going
Bill Lambier.
We're going down a dark alley here. All right, Jake's going to keep us updated too, because Aaron Rodgers will be joining the Pat McAfee show in just a little bit. So we're going to see if Aaron Rodgers actually spills some information. However, The Broncos have added a new running back to the room. D-Mac, how are you feeling about Samaje Perine? Excuse me.
I think, well, here's who he is. He has not had a fumble in 5 years. He's had a little bit of injury issues, but he's played well recently.
Mhm.
He's played in a lot of playoff games, including a Super Bowl. He is a 4-yard a carry guy, and
Yep.
he can catch the ball. He is a very, very solid, durable, big, strong, potential speed, but you're not counting on it. Reliable running back. It's a really good acquisition. I like it a lot. It is a great compliment to Javonte Williams. If Williams can get healthy, they
Sure.
probably will still draft a guy. And I would hope they would re-sign Latavius Murray. Other than that, I think it's really good. The price is right. And the guy doesn't fumble. He has 401 carries, Rachel, and 2 fumbles. And both of those fumbles were in his rookie year 5 years ago.
Mhm.
So I think that's what you're looking for. And I think that's what you got in Samaje. So I like it. I like it a lot.
Samaje Perine, 2 years, $7.5 million deal with another $1 million in incentives. So a good deal. I don't think anybody is angry about it, but I guess we can always ask Mike Evans as he now officially joins us to see how he's feeling, because he says that the Broncos have aced the test. Mike, how are you this morning?
Well, before we get to that, I've been sitting here in the green room for the last 10 minutes listening to you guys, and I'm thinking of going to buy a helmet, because I'm like, I'm looking up right now at the sky, because clearly the sky is falling. Listening to you guys talk about the Nuggets, my goodness, relax.
Oh, well, where are you at with this team, Mike?
Well, here's where I'm at. This is the team that between December 6th and March 6th, 3 months, played the best basketball of anybody in the NBA. They had the best record, and more importantly, they gave you pretty much a consistent, professional effort almost every single game. In a league where increasingly teams take nights off, players take nights off, and you see some results across the association that just leave you scratching your head. And during this same stretch that the Nuggets have played 32-9 basketball, Memphis, during that same stretch, had a 5-game losing streak, lost 8 of 9. Phoenix lost 12 of 14. Milwaukee lost 4 in a row and 6 of 9. The Celtics right now are in a current stretch where they've lost 5 of 8. They just lost to the Houston Rockets the other night. So, look, human nature is human nature. And once they beat Memphis, they relaxed. They exhaled. And human nature being what it is, it's going to take a little time to get it back. But as far as pushing the panic button, and this team has been exposed, and they got to fire Michael Malone, easy, relax. This is the NBA. They are now at a point where they just want the season to be over. And they just arrived at this point a little later than most of the contending teams who long ago decided they just wanted the season to be over.
Well, first of all, are you in a shower? Second of all, nobody. It looks like you're in the shower. What is? Oh, Rachel. I thought it was a shower curtain. Second of all, I don't want Michael Malone. Not only do I not want Michael Malone to be fired, I don't think he will be fired. Save that for James Marilat.
Yeah.
What we're talking about, and when I say my concern is a 6.5 out of 10, it's a 6.5 out of 10. That's all. It's not an 8, 9, 10, nothing like that. But listen, you got to win some of these road games. There has to be something about bouncing back. And you play the worst team in the league on the road in Detroit tomorrow. You got to win it. You got to win it. You got to win some of these games. I mean, I get it. You say 5 of 8. Well, there were 3 games that you did win. You say 4 of 6. Well, there are 2 games that you did win. If the Nuggets are going to lose 4 of their last 5, what's the game that they win? I would suggest that you get your act together, and I'm being kind here, against the worst team in the league on the road. Or you got serious cracks, Mike, and to think like, oh, nothing's wrong here. Don't look here. I think that's a little naive.
It's a fair point, Michael.
Trust me, if I was in the shower, you'd be getting the true experience. So,
Wow.
Mike, are you not worried though at all with the fact that Michael Porter Jr. is sitting one moment when they're having a close game? Jamal Murray is apparently hurt and he's playing 40 minutes. Like, there's just some questionable decisions that seem to be made from the coaching perspective, and I don't think Michael Malone's going to get fired either. But I'm still kind of like, what's going through your head, because these sort of moves aren't adding up?
Yeah, no, look, I'm not saying that Michael Malone has proven that he is above criticism, above any kind of second guessing. No, he's got a ton to prove. As I've said many times, I think on this show, he is exactly in the place right now that Jared Bednar was a year ago, and we laugh about that now because of everything we know. But it's true. Don't rewrite history. A year ago, we were wondering whether or not Jared Bednar had the goods to deliver a title. Heck, James Marilat had Bednar getting fired right up until Game 6 of the Stanley Cup Finals if he didn't come through. So, it's not that Michael Malone isn't, that we're not aware of what Michael Malone still needs to do. I just would like to place this current skid in its proper context and understand that it is something that is endemic around the entire NBA. And let's wait a little bit longer before we reach for and push the panic button. And D-Mac, you're not pushing the panic button. I hear you. You said you're at 6.5 out of 10. I'm at about the same kind of numbers. So it's something to watch. It's something to monitor. But I don't think it's anything to really be freaked out about right now.
Okay, well, again, we'll keep everybody up to date at denversports.com. We always have great columns going out there about the Nuggets. But, Mike, let's talk about the Denver Broncos because you wrote a column for denversports.com today, and you said that the Broncos may have aced the test. Do you still feel that way?
Yeah, and here's why. Because, look, I'm not, and I said this in my first line in the column, I'm not a huge fan of free agency. Free agency at its core is overpaying for guys who the team that knew them the best decided they could live without that guy. So there's immediately inherent risk in all of this. But when you look at free agency, I use the term, it's a necessary evil when it comes to roster building. And I think for where the Broncos are right now, with such a small amount of draft picks, the necessary of that necessary evil is the most important part. And so using free agency, going big in free agency, overspending in free agency is just what this team has to do right now. And I like what they've done. I think no matter who their quarterback was, whoever their quarterback was, I think you could all agree that Ben Powers is an upgrade over Dalton Reisner. Mike McGlinchey is an upgrade over whoever the right tackle du jour is. And from that standpoint right there, I think that they're two really good moves. Zach Allen, I would have preferred they find a way to keep it with Draymond Jones. But, hey, look, for whatever reason, Draymond Jones didn't want to be here. They decided that they wanted to go in a different direction. Hey, all I know about Zach Allen is this, is that if you look at the numbers, it's very comparable to Draymond Jones. He has a very working, good, familiar relationship with VJ and the other way around. He wants to be here. The reports out of Arizona that the people in our business, the people in the community business, charity business, devastated that this guy is gone. J.J. Watt gave him a ringing endorsement. So for all those reasons, I think the Broncos through free agency found 3 plug-and-play starters. And in at least 2 of the cases, better than what they had here before. So, yeah, I like the early returns.
All right, I just got a text.
Yep.
Oh, here he comes. Jake, what do you got for us?
Breaking news, the Denver Broncos are signing depth cornerback and kick returner Tremon Smith to a 2-year, $5.5 million deal. Smith runs a 4.33 40. He returned a kickoff last year, intercepted Dak Prescott twice, made 10 tackles against the Chiefs, forced 3 fumbles, and returned 1 fumble for a touchdown. He comes via the Texans.
Okay.
Okay, that's interesting. That's so much for Montreal.
It's your corner punt returner. There you go.
Yeah, exactly. So much for Montreal, Washington. All I was advocating for last year is to put somebody more reliable that you trust back there. And I said yes. And then I was asked who I would put. When a coach asks a muggle what he would do, sorry, coach, you're in for it. So I put out the best guy, which would be Patrick Surtain, and then I was the fool. You know who a fool was? The Denver Broncos for selecting Montreal, Washington, and just giving him that incredibly important job and putting yourself in that position. And then fired Dwayne Stukes, was making fun of me for suggesting Patrick Surtain. Hey, I wasn't the moron that was sticking Montreal, Washington back there, getting my butt fired before the season was over, coach. Sorry. And if you thought there was somebody better, put him back there. and he did. It was Hall of Fame. Who's that guy that we had as a quarterback, Mike? He was a Hall of Fame. Who was that guy?
Oh,
Yeah,
gosh.
yeah. Anyway,
Kendall Hinton. Kendall Hinton.
So, so that was the funniest response of the year. Surtain, are you nuts? We've got to, I mean, if it's Kendall Hinton, sure. Meaning, like, Surtain is way too valuable. But, hey, who's disposable around here? Who on the team? It doesn't matter if they get hurt. And it was a, the special teams problems they've had are ridiculous. They've overcomplicated things over the years. And I am definitely looking forward to Mike Westhoff, who has been around forever, to just simplify things. I know it sounds like an insult, but I think this Denver Broncos is going to be the coloring book Broncos, because they're just going to simplify everything. And I'm all for it. Let's draw with crayons. Okay, guys? Let's take things one step at a time and make things simple. You know what coloring book is? The run game. There's nothing complicated about it. It's big guys in power football. It's not the most exciting thing in the world. It's crayons. How about a defensive back punt returner? That's happened for every team for the last 40 years. Have had a guy like that, because it's more important to catch the ball and be smart than to run around like a chicken with your head cut off, because you only have one job to justify your salary. There's been some stupid things over the years. And when Mike says free agency, Mike's right. You're right about this, because if one of these guys get hurt, there's a ton of money on the books, and there's no backups because you haven't backed them up and you haven't built the really right way with the draft. Free agency frenzy is always, Rachel and Mike, a house of cards. First of all, what's wrong with these guys in the first place that they're available? You better hope they're all young and the other team just was bad with money, and usually that's not the case. Look at the Niners, by the way. They spent big bucks on the defensive line and told McGlinchey to kick rocks. True. Why? Why was it more important for them to build on the defensive line than on the offensive line and make McGlinchey disposable? That is what we call a red flag, okay? And I'm sick of being bamboozled because of the Russell Wilson deal, and Mike was right again with doing the deal. It's a home run city for Mike. It was a stupid move. Mike is wrong in his column that this year isn't about Russ. It's all about Russ. And Mike, just like Cecil does this too. When they don't like something, instead of arguing against it, they just call it lazy. And they don't use their intellectual abilities and acuity to actually have a conversation. They just say, hey, if you disagree with me, you're lazy or dumb. Put some words to it, Mike. Okay. Why is it lazy?
Here's why it's lazy. If Russell Wilson fails this year, and Russell Wilson does not get fixed, and Russell Wilson is somebody we're looking to move on after this year, is Sean Payton still going to be here next year? Yes. Is Mike McGlinchey still going to be here? Yes. Is Ben Powers still going to be here? Yes. Are all these people that they brought in free agency going to be here? Yes. So to say it's all about Russ is ridiculous, because if they move on from Russell Wilson after this year, that's on Russ. That means Russ didn't fix Russ. Not that Sean Payton failed in fixing Russ, and therefore this was a failure on Sean Payton's part. Sean Payton was brought in to fix the Broncos. And if along the way, step one in trying to fix the Broncos this year is Russell Wilson. But guess what? If he doesn't fix Russell Wilson, we move on. So to say it's all about Russ, yeah, this year the goal, the number one priority is to try to fix Russ. But okay, D-Mac, let's have a conversation. If they don't fix Russ, what happens after that? Who's going to be held accountable for it? Nobody. Russell
Wilson and perhaps George Payton. But at the end of the day,
George Payton's not in charge anymore anyway. So again,
you wouldn't be doing what you're doing if it wasn't all about making this work. And here's the danger that you have: 5 days after the league starts next year, you got to make a decision on a $55 million contract for Russell Wilson in 2025. So not only does Russell Wilson have to achieve this year, he has to justify $55 million in salary for 2025. So 2023 isn't just about 2023. It's also about 24 and 25. Everything you're doing is trying to fix Russ. This is trying to fix Russ. Trying to fix Russ is getting a better offensive line and a running game and coloring book offense, making things more simple. They need to make it work because the other side of it is a pit of quarterback misery. It's Jarrett Stidham and hope and pray. It is, hey, Mike, you are about to get your dream come true if it's not about Russ, buddy.
Okay, real quick. I'm trying to play devil's advocate to both of you. Let's say that the Broncos win 6 games next year. Are you getting rid of Russ or are you keeping Russ? He's better than he was.
Get rid of him.
Well, hold on. They were better. He was better than he was. So Sean Payton fixed him a little bit. Maybe he needs more time because we know of his contract. Or was it all about Russ this year and you're just getting rid of him?
No, look, if they only win 6 games next year, then Sean Payton's what we hope would be the impact that he's going to make on Russ. Clearly, Russ is just not fixable at that point. I mean, again, that's why this isn't all. That's why this is not all about Russ, because Sean Payton. I feel like I can trust Sean Payton. Okay, I believe that Sean Payton is going to do. Probably he is one of a handful of people in this league that could fix Russ. So if he can't do it, then Russ is it cannot be salvaged. He cannot be fixed. And in order for us to feel like he's been fixed and that you can feel confident moving on in the next few years with Russ, then you are talking about a minimum of 9 wins, really. I mean, it's got to be a minimum 9 wins. And so anything less than that, then yeah, you got to move on. And that's why this is a 1-year thing. And if it doesn't work on, you bite the bullet, you accept the pain, you do the post June 1st or whenever you can cut him, and you take the pain, you move on.
So, Mike, it does sound like it's all about Russ.
For this year. But
yeah.
See,
what else are we talking about?
But to D-Mac's idea that you're using, I'll actually agree with the crayons and the coloring book. But guess what? If you had a rookie quarterback that you drafted, you'd be doing the same thing. You'd be setting up the same kind of offense. You'd be trying to provide the same kind of support system. You'd be looking to run the ball. You'd be looking to play good defense. You'd be looking to be good on special teams. So the moves that Sean Payton, what he's trying to do here, I don't see how somehow this is just Russ-centric. These are the kind of things, these are the kind of moves that you want to do if you're just trying to build a good football team. Yeah, if you're lucky enough to have one of the few great quarterbacks in this league, then yeah, you could probably go a different direction. But I'll tell you what, out of 32 teams in the NFL, I'd say a good 24 to 25, 26, 27 of them are probably trying to do a lot of the things that Sean Payton is trying to put in this offseason. I don't know why you think that this game plan from Sean Payton is somehow revolutionary and it only applies to a quarterback like Russell Wilson. It applies to a ton of quarterbacks. Look at what the Giants did last year with Daniel Jones. They did the same kind of thing, really simplifying things, making it easy, making it so it wasn't all on his shoulders, and it worked out pretty good there. So yeah, I think you're over exaggerating this idea that all this is being done for Russ. These are the kind of things you'll do for the next quarterback if Russ doesn't work out.
Yeah, and that's going to be Jarrett Stidham and a cacophony of khaki pants quarterbacks because nobody likes a reclamation project more than Sean Payton. Slim Shawnee has loads of confidence, and it's always about him, which is fine. It's fine.
D-Mac, what about his record? What you're somehow making it sound like he's some grifter who's he's pay no attention to the wizard behind the curtain. Have you paid attention to his career? Have you seen what he's done? The guy's averaged 10 wins a year for 15 years. He's won a Super Bowl. He's taken Drew Brees, who was just a guy when he got to New Orleans, helped turn him into a Hall of Famer. He got the best out of Teddy Bridgewater. He got the best out of Jameis Winston. So why all of a sudden are you besmirching this guy's record.
I'm not. I'm saying this
You
is who he
are.
is. But I just don't think you can win in a league of Avengers with somebody eating a bowl of popcorn watching the movie. Not to besmirch popcorn because Rachel loves it. But I'm just saying, you're just looking for the guy watching the Avengers, not an Avenger. But I get it. I get it. Sean Payton thinks he's the Avenger. Sean Payton is the mad scientist. He is, Oz behind the curtain. And I understand it. And when they signed Jarrett Stidham, I really got it. I get what the future is. And I think Matthew Berry was right. I think it's a one-year deal for Russell Wilson. They are spending big bucks in free agency. They have almost zero depth behind any of these guys. And you're going to come up on some crazy contracts if you don't deal Patrick Surtain or Jerry Jeudy that are going to make life incredibly difficult. And it's probably why they're shopping Jeudy right now, by the way, because they realize, well, we can't keep them all. And Patrick Surtain, we just noticed that Stephon Gilmore is on like his fourth team now, right? Jalen Ramsey is on his third team. These were the top cornerbacks who were high top 10 picks. So one top 10 pick is on his fourth team, and another top 10 pick, maybe the greatest cornerback of all time, is on his third team. You're going to overpay for Patrick Surtain, I bet you anything, or you're going to have to trade him. They have just done things, and listen, Rachel, you want a gold star, you win it. George Payton has been just inept as a general manager, and at least Sean Payton is coming in and at least, saying what should be done. The problem is there is such little belief in this organization and quarterbacks. It blows me away. I mean, it just blows me away how different the Broncos are trying to be than the rest of the league. Again, my proposal is conservative. My proposal was just done by the Panthers, and they were the last holdout. How many teams, Mike and Rachel, haven't given it a shot at taking a top 10 quarterback? It doesn't always work out. But how many teams in the last 10 years haven't even tried? I mean, it's like 3 or 4 teams, the Broncos being far and away the leader in the clubhouse.
Well, how are you going to get the draft capital to be able to move up in the top 5?
You trade Patrick Surtain.
Wait a minute. Wait a minute, because you've gone on endlessly saying that the Broncos and George Payton were stupid for drafting a cornerback at number 9, way overdrafted when it comes to the value of the position. But now you're counting on another team actually giving them a pick higher than number 9?
Yes, I'm.
Well, somebody else is going to be stupid. Somebody else is going to be stupid on top of the Broncos.
Correct. Or actually, let me take that back. No, some teams are not going to be stupid. They're going to want to win now. And there are teams that are just on the bubble. They've got everything else. They've got the quarterback. They've got the tack. I'm hoping it's Houston, actually, because even though Houston's not built to win now, they're going to go with the cornerback, and they could get instantly better. A team like the Bears may be stupid, and they have capital to deal with. I mean, you could find other dumb teams. Maybe the Bills will want something because they're that close and they need to get over the edge. Maybe
so we're going to take the 20. If it's the Bills, we're gonna trade Patrick Surtain, who we took with the 9th overall pick. We're gonna get a first-round pick from Buffalo that'll probably be like the 28th or 26th pick in the first round, and somehow we're gonna be able to use that to move up to get the number 1 overall pick in the draft.
You have shot in
2024.
What did the Panthers' record finish with this year, Mike?
Well, I know they were at number 9, right?
Yeah. So what was their record? 6, 7 wins?
Yeah, but they were 9. They were coming from number 9.
They used 2 firsts and a premier wide receiver to jump from 9 to 1. It can be done. The worst nightmare is if the Broncos end up winning 9 games and are drafting like 15 or 16. And by the way, you wouldn't get just 1 first-round pick for Patrick Surtain. It would have to be in the category of 2 first-round picks. The best value in cornerbacks, and it's very rare, is that you outperform the actual value of your position. Jalen Ramsey was traded for 2 firsts and a 4th to the Rams and then given a big deal. He was great with the Rams and they won a Super Bowl. Good deal for both teams. The Jaguars went from the AFC Championship game to the bottom back to the playoffs in 2022, 5 years later. The Broncos have missed the playoffs for 7 straight years and are nowhere close in the AFC West. If you can't see it, I cannot lead
But you want. I know you want them to tank. I know what you want them to tank, but it's how you are so casual about the idea of just tank. All you got to do is tank. Well, a lot of teams, first of all, try to tank. Houston was trying to tank. But the problem is, as Houston showed at the end of last season, you're still talking about this isn't 162 baseball games. It's not 82 basketball games. It's easier to tank over that kind of a season. When you're only talking about 17 games, unfortunately, or fortunately, however you want to look at it, the NFL teams, even the bad ones, are still made up of professionals, grown men who have pride, have ego, and as Houston proved, will still go out and win games and try to win games that everybody else wants them to lose, and it ends up costing them a number 1 overall pick. So to just casually say just tank is not as easy as it sounds. Secondly, you're saying tank so you can get Caleb Williams. Okay, here's my question to you. Since Peyton Manning got drafted, name me a number 1 overall drafted quarterback that's been generational.
Joe Burrow.
Joe Burrow's not generational yet. Joe Burrow isn't even the best quarterback in his conference.
He's been to a Super Bowl. He'll probably win one.
He's still looking up at Patrick Mahomes. He's still looking up at Patrick Mahomes.
If you don't like my answer, you don't like it. But I gave you an answer.
I'll tell you what.
We're going to ask the people if Joe Burrow is a generational quarterback, and we'll go with their opinion.
And meanwhile, and let me define generational. Meaning, at the end of this decade, when they name the all-decade team, is Joe Burrow the quarterback of that all-decade team? We all know the answer to that. He's not going to be, at least not yet. All right, I'll tell you what, D-Mac, I'll play the game.
That is such an idiotic standpoint because you're saying there can only be one player. But Mike, you're saying there can only be one player ever. One player ever. All right.
I'll give you Burrow. Give me another one. Since Peyton Manning, give me another one. Generational, first round, first overall pick. Give me one.
By your definition, I can't give you anybody because there can only be one.
All right. By your definition.
Trevor Lawrence, Mike.
Who?
Trevor Lawrence.
Trevor Lawrence is a generational quarterback?
Yes.
He's a good quarterback who's got potential. You're saying he's a generational quarterback now? Oh, my God.
We should bring popcorn on Wednesdays, everybody.
All right, watch this. Mike, in the past 20 years, name all the generational quarterbacks ever.
Generational quarterbacks over the last 20 years? Peyton Manning, Tom Brady, Ben Roethlisberger, Eli Manning, multiple Super Bowl winners. Those would be generational quarterbacks.
Well, you just named 2 guys picked with the number 1 overall pick, Mike. And
Who?
You picked another first rounder in Roethlisberger.
Wait, who's the other one? Peyton?
Eli and Payton.
Eli wasn't number 1 overall.
What was he?
Eli got traded with the Chargers and Phillip Rivers.
So he's 2, 3?
No, he was like, what was it? 4, 7, something like that? No,
Mike, it was way higher than that.
Number 1 overall pick. You got Andrew Luck. You got Cam Newton.
Selected first overall in the 2000s.
First overall. So your plan is to
tell Mike.
Yeah, first overall.
Eli Manning was first overall in the 2004 NFL draft by the San Diego Chargers.
Yeah, he was number 1.
After the trade.
But he was number 1, Mike. He was still a number 1 overall pick.
Your plan can't be, hey, I want to end up with a quarterback that ends up going to be a great quarterback for somebody else. That's your plan. I want to draft a quarterback who goes on to be great for somebody else. Come on, man.
I love what's going on.
Did he announce it?
What's he doing?
Oh, you're muted, my friend. You're muted.
500,000 people are currently watching Aaron Rodgers blather about absolutely nothing for 20 minutes, but he has gotten to, I went into my 5 days of darkness, 90% sure I was going to retire, and I came out with the intention to play for the New York Jets.
Wow.
So he made the announcement on the McAfee show.
Nope. This wasn't about announcing anything. He did that days ago. This was about clearing up the air so he could let everyone know where he currently sits, D-Mac. It was very clear this is not an announcement.
What is it?
But he's going to the Jets.
I it's hard to figure out exactly what he was saying, but it seems like he's going to the Jets. That's what everyone else is reporting. So it seems like Nathaniel Hackett has done his job finally.
We're only a season too late. All right, Jake. Well, thanks. Let us know if anybody else gives you any details over there. There you go, though. I guess that'll move us into the In the Headlines segment of this show, which Aaron Rodgers to the Jets. Anyone surprised here?
No, he's an idiot. I can't. He'll probably have some form of success there, but we have found the most narcissistic, arrogant athlete of all time. Congratulations, Aaron. You're it. So you like to parse words. You like to use other people. You're just like a jerk, and I wish him nothing but failure in New York.
Oh wow.
Well, hey, the guy could still play football, and
I didn't say he couldn't.
All right, well then, you know what? We're not handing out merit badges here, okay? All right, so he's got his issues. He's self-absorbed. You know what? He's not the first self-absorbed professional athlete to come along, but
name one worse.
He's certainly a heck of a lot better than Mike White, Zach Wilson, and Joe Flacco. So at least in New York, you got some hope now.
Nathaniel Hackett finally did his job. D-Mac, I do want to get your story time, though, because the Calais Campbell situation going on in the talk now is quite interesting. So can you tell us exactly what happened yesterday on the drive with this conversation?
Well, we just brought it up, and then Derek just texted Calais, would you like to be here? And he goes, yeah, I would love to be with the Broncos. He went to Denver South. And then Derek sent a text to VJ, Vance Joseph, and Joseph was like, wait, doesn't he have Denver roots? And he didn't know it. He thought it. He didn't know it. And he didn't have Calais' phone number. So Derek literally, at least, it's like setting up kind of a little bit of a blind date. The code isn't Denver his hometown. It's code for, could we get him at a cheaper deal? And Calais is revealing, actually, yeah, you probably could. Even Calais sent Derek a note about 5 would be the bottom. What a joke. He knows we're talking about him on the air. So 5 is going to be the bottom. Certainly 3.5 with incentives would probably do the trick. So now you really have to ask yourselves, would you like sort of a DeMarcus Ware type of character? Maybe DeMarcus isn't really the right example, but I mean, he's 36 years old. Yep. He would be a rotational defensive end that brings a ton of leadership, who probably would take a smaller deal to be at his hometown to finish out his career. I think it's a no-brainer, Mike.
Yeah, on this we're in complete agreement. 36 years old, had 5.5 sacks last year. Yep. Played 14 games. Randy Gregory. And right. For what is clear here is that I think Sean Payton is serious about the idea of improving the culture here, and it's been just a gong show around here for the last 6-7 years, and so the idea of changing the culture, bringing in some true pros, really appeals to me. And so a guy like Calais Campbell, it would be DeMarcus Ware light. Yeah, I think you'd be getting a guy who could still play. Look, he's got to play. This isn't putting Udonis Haslem at the end of your bench, and just having him wear a uniform, but essentially be an assistant coach. He's got to be able to play. But he showed last year he could play. And so for all those reasons, great story. Good locker room guy. Yeah, let's do it.
You think they could get him for 3.5?
I think they could get him even cheaper, actually, if you put enough incentives to it. And I think that's commonly done. Listen, guys at the end of their career are looking for some reasons to play. A great one is Brandon Stokely. He was just done. He was done and living in Castle Rock. And then along came Peyton Manning. Not only did Stoke have a really fun year in 2012, but he played a little bit the next year as well. Granted, for another team, but still, at some point, Peyton Manning would rather have Wes Welker than Brandon Stokely. I mean, let's get real. But at least, you have, in the NFL, you have some weird little stories throughout time of guys coming back for whatever reason for a year or two at the end. And usually those guys come back because there's just something inside them that they're not done with football or their sport. And I think it's a great addition. Bill Belichick spoke about building a team. And he did speak of having different roles for different guys in their careers. And I think Calais Campbell, I know what you're saying, Mike, about, being a coach and that sort of thing, like you got to play. I agree. But there is something to be said for getting a guy who was the Walter Payton Man of the Year just a couple of years ago and will automatically become a leader. And Derek was really interesting. He said a guy like Calais could help bond Russ with the defensive guys, that he could be a bridge that doesn't really exist right now. And that's another positive thing, too. I frankly think this is a bit of a no-brainer. They've got plenty of money to do it. They've got $12 million left in the cap because a lot of these deals are front-loaded. We spent, the Walton Penner Group spent a lot of cash yesterday. And I think, Mike, did you write about the Brittany Boland thing? Like you wouldn't be able to, that was a good line because Mike's right about that too. I'm giving you some props here, Mike.
Mike's getting a lot of
you would not have seen this. You would not have seen this with a Brittany Boland-led team. You just wouldn't have. This is the advantage you have with the wealthiest team. You got cash, a lot of cash, and they're happy to spend it. They may have to pay for it and restructure in a couple of years, but they're not worried about that right now. They're trying to get out of the pit of misery with Russ.
Yeah, I'm definitely down. I would be so cool. I think it would be so cool to see him out here. But we will move on because the show always goes way too fast. We're approaching an hour. Real quick, though, D-Mac is wearing his yellow-orange. Is it technically orange or is it yellow?
Oh, no. I mean, no. It's gold, burgundy and gold, man. ASU.
Well, it looks a little orange. I won't lie to you, D-Mac. So
I got nothing against orange, but, we're firing coaches after 40s. Mike, are we even playing in the NIT? I don't even know. With Syracuse.
No. That's beneath us. Please.
Yeah, I was going to say.
We're not even in the NIT.
No, please. No.
We have such a bad year.
We have standards. Let's see you. Let's see you go play in the NIT.
Hey, they won.
I know.
They won.
I know.
Woo! All right, though. Nevada versus Arizona State for the first four. They don't like it to be the play-in game anymore. It's the first four. So who we got?
We got Arizona State. Because they win, they're playing in Denver on Friday. Let's go. Forks up. Come on.
Yeah, I'm going to go with Arizona State. Nevada, I actually, because I enjoy betting the college. I did a lot of followed a lot of college basketball this year. Nevada actually was a really good team for most of the season, but they struggled coming down the stretch. Arizona State, I think, has a little bit of more momentum. I'll go Arizona State. I think they're -2.
Yep, they are -2. I just checked that. So I'm also going to stake the Sun Devils over the Wolfpack. It breaks my heart. I've got a good friend that went to Nevada, so I'm kind of like, Mountain West too. But I am also going to take ASU. So let us know in the comments who you guys are going to take, and hopefully you enjoyed the show. I really do need to bring popcorn on Wednesdays because you never know what kind of argument you two are going to get into. But it is always
you know exactly what argument we're going to get into.
Come on, it's as you can see it coming a mile away. Are you kidding me?
There's no mystery at all.
No.
I know. Next Wednesday, I'll have popcorn, everybody. All right, that is going to do it, though, for this episode of Coffee Break. We will be back tomorrow morning, 10:30 a.m. for another episode, and we'll see you guys all then. Have a wonderful Wednesday, everybody. Talk to you later.